In the last 3 years, we engineers and scientists in the field of optics have been irritated by this new industry that we wanted to create. I'm talking about augmented and virtual reality headsets. These are headsets that either add an image to what you naturally see around you or replace it altogether. They are promised to be the next game-changing technology. I mean, you just put on these glasses and you suddenly have Iron Man-like superpowers with freaking AI telling you what to do and how to do it. It all sounds great, and I've been personally very excited about this space. Here are some of my drawings on how I predicted the evolution of these headsets by 2030. But what has been very irritating is just the amount of inaccuracy and fluff that has been fed to this AR/VR hype. It's to the extent right now that even we engineers are starting to lose our technical common sense between ourselves. So I feel responsible to travel all the way here to give this talk here today. I want to go a little bit against what you typically hear in the media about AR and VR and do a little bit of public education and reality check because, man, do we need that in this space. First of all, guys, the only place where this is called a hologram is Star Wars out of Hollywood. This is not a hologram. This is kind of inaccuracies I'm talking about. This is a hologram. It's made specifically by interfering lasers to record the phase of the light. That, if ever possible, is a volumetric display. And what this gives you is a stereoscopic image similar to IMAX 3D. To call what this gives you a hologram, it's inaccurate. It's just like saying, it's just like calling pizza a cheesecake. Like, you never call Domino and say, hey, can I have a cheesecake with pepper and barbecue sauce, right? It would definitely irritate the chef, right? Next thing that bugs me is light field, and oh boy, you're gonna keep hearing more and more about this one. And man, some businesses are trying to make it sound as if it's some crazy neurological quantum physics thing, which is absolutely not. Let me tell you what light field is for you as a consumer in 30 seconds. Light field means that the light that is coming to your eye from the display is not coming from a single flat plane like IMAX screen, but is ideally coming from the original optical depth of different objects in the scene. That's it. Probably took me less than 30 seconds to say that. Do this with me. Hold your fingers like this and close one of your eyes. If you focus on the front finger, you can see the back finger goes blur. And if you focus on the back finger, you can see the front finger goes blur. Now, imagine if these fingers were digital images or objects. That would be a light field experience. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. No quantum physics going on, people. Just simple old classic physics. Now, let me tell you this. Light field, the first time you experience it, it's amazing. It's like, okay, this is the 3D should have always been. But once you have it, you get used to it very fast. Basically, what light field does is that it gets rid of this fakeness of stereoscopic 3D, so you don't feel like someone has punched you in the eyes after using the headset for 20 minutes. Got it? So we're gonna see a race in getting better and better fidelity in the depth in the coming years. But that race is gonna saturate pretty fast because we humans actually don't have that much sensitivity to depth with one eye. This simulation here shows these depth levels that we can detect for an average 40-year-old eye. Horizontal axis is the distance from your face, and the vertical axis is your eye diopter. We have about 24 of these depth levels that we can detect when we are young. But as we age, the number of these levels drops like crazy because our eye lens flexibility reduces. And by the time we're 50, we can only detect 3 to 5 of these. Guys, this is crazy. We have about 8 million XY pixels per eye, but only 3 to 5 in Z. How do we even live? Well, this is the optical depth with one eye. With both eyes, we can actually use stereopsis and extrapolate over 3,000 depth levels, which is less impacted by age. Another parameter that is danced around a lot is field of view, which is basically how wide and tall you can see the world around you. Obviously, if you have a headset with larger field of view, you're going to get more immersion if you're not sacrificing the image quality. But there's this 114-degree binocular field of view limit, which going beyond that would start to get redundant because you don't even see 3D after that. Unfortunately, this parameter, this limit, among many other parameters, varies significantly from face to face. Races with flatter nose can have up to 40 degrees larger binocular field of view, which is super strange. Another thing that is very important, and I don't understand why nobody's talking about this, is image accuracy. Like, I seriously don't understand why nobody talks about image accuracy and image quality in AR right now. Guys, I'm sorry to break it to you, but AR image quality is gonna suck for a very long time. And I don't care how many billions of dollars you're gonna spend in hyping this thing up. This thing is just not gonna replace your cell phones or monitor screens anytime soon. Let me tell you why. And this is based on physics. I've written papers on this. Based on physics, and a transparent augmented reality display, as we understand them today, can never have better contrast than your normal monitors, even in the coming years. They can also never have better pixel accuracy than your cell phone screen. Also, the headset itself cannot be lighter than normal glasses or more transparent or as transparent unless it's sacrificing some of the other parameters significantly. Don't tell me that, oh, this is also going to be like Moore's Law, where everything gets smaller and suddenly magically going to work. No, dude, this is going to be like Pico projectors, which have been around for a decade, and they have never replaced your cell phone and monitor screens because their contrast and resolution just sucks. I don't want to get too ragged about this and keep like whining about things. I do believe in this technology, and I'm working on it myself. But I want you as a consumer, as an investor, as an engineer, to be aware of these problems and focus on them. So now that I went over these challenges, let me give you a practical vision of how I see the future of AR. I see basically two categories, and I've been told that I'm not alone in this. The first category is like this. It's more like goggle form factor. This gives you everything. 100-degree plus field of view, 8K per eye with subsample light field, toggles between AR and VR. This is meant to be the desktop of AR and VR, and we're getting there fast in 5 to 10 years. The other category is more glass-like form factor, like this. Sub 100 grams. It's not supposed to give you fancy graphics or large field of view, but it's meant to be the mobile of AR, possibly an accessory to your cell phones. Now, it will be still difficult to have this as seamless as normal glasses, but I bet that cell phone giants like Apple and Samsung are going to polish this to death to try to get to this. So this is it. This is the next 10 years of AR, people. So how do we get through the hype to fix the actual issues and get to these? I have different advices for different people. For consumers and developers, I would say if you want to buy a headset, make sure 100% that you try it for 20 minutes before you buy it. For hardware engineers, I would say stick to what works and develop the fancy technologies on the side rather than doubling down on a fancy technology for years and missing the opportunity to test the market. Also, as a community of optical engineers, we need to come up with some benchmarks so we can say whose image is better than who. Software-wise, it's simple. We just need to reduce the computational cost of rendering, tracking, and localization. And methods like machine learning and compressive sensing can help with that. But commercial-wise, and this is the most important one, commercial-wise, we gotta find a killer app. Man, we gotta find a killer app because this thing is not gonna fly fast without it. And in order to find it, we have to think about things that only AR can do that nothing else can. For example, an AR headset can see where you're looking at or what's around you with very high accuracy. So try to tap into that to bring value. Also, the solutions that you're providing has to be at least 10 times better than the pre-existing solutions with half the friction in usage, because you already have the friction of forcing people to put that thing on their face. So it makes me laugh when people compare the current situation with AR to the early days of cell phones where they were bulky and this and that, because it's just a wrong comparison. Cell phones were solving the problem of mobile communications right off the bat, and they had absolutely no competing devices. Augmented reality headsets have to compete with cell phones, which are already a super mature technology. Also, what is an AR headset solving after 10 years of development, dude? Like, playing immersive video games in my living room? Like, seriously? please, please, don't get too excited about immersion. This is why 3D TVs died. I don't need to get immersed in my emails or in Fox News, for God's sake. I also don't need to augment video games in my living room that already has a 72-inch high dynamic range 4K screen for half the price of a headset. So I want to get work done 10 times faster, 10 times easier. I want my memories to be amplified, my creativity to be amplified. So think along those lines. Real value. Real value. I don't need to project laser into my eye to tell me what's the weather outside my window. Got it? Okay, my final word. Guys, gals, engineers, billionaires, we need to understand and communicate the reality of augmented reality and super focus our resources on solving those problems. Augmented reality is a cool technology and exciting, but hyping this thing furthermore is going to erode the public trust and slow us down. So let's put cool aside, stick to the truth, and build on it together. Thank you.